Perfectly sculpted cheekbones. Who can live up to that? Well, actually, Rob Pattinson can.
There was no question when Rob came in. It was like he was the only guy who came in thinking anything other than like how to pose statuesque and be, you know, really attractive and perfect. And he looked afraid, and he looked like he had a sense of pain, and he knew why. I mean, to live 108 years by yourself, it's really terrible.
In the script it said he gives a look so demonic and animalistic that it just scares these men, these fully grown men, to the core. Right. And I just kept coming out the car. I did it once, and I missed my mark. And I just almost quit after it. So I was like, seriously, this isn't gonna happen.
Ella?
Thanks. You know, your mood swings are kind of giving me whiplash.
I only said it'd be better if we weren't friends, not that I didn't want to be.
What does that mean?
It means if you were smart, you'd stay away from me.
I think Rob just really connected with Kristen. They had this kind of attraction and sexual tension that was just palpable.
He was the only guy who really actually looked at me and wasn't just totally preoccupied with himself. So he was sort of perfect.
Then ask me the most basic question. What do we eat?
I think it was just something to do with playing that story. It was just kind of... Because every other character in the movie is like seemingly only concerned with our relationship. Everything, it was always like Bella and Edward, all the time. I guess you kind of, you come in this little bubble.
There's like a sense of like you're willing to go wherever I go. Like we were going to follow each other and we're going to do this together. And that was always there. And we both really care about the movie a lot. So we felt like it was a really massive responsibility.
How did you know this?
I'm standing right next to you.
No, you were across the lot next to your car.
No, I wasn't.
Yes, you were.
You hit your head. You must be confused.
There was definitely some kind of connection when we met.
That sort of thing can't really be defined. It's like, for whatever reason, you, I don't know, you feel like you're really, like you see, not that you see something in the person that nobody else does, but it's just that when you do look at each other, that there's like a moment of like just clarity. There's just truth there. There's honesty.
These two are both incredibly intelligent and, you know, complex people themselves, and they bring that to the screen. They're able to express that.
Okay, well, let's say for argument's sake that I'm not smart. I can see what you're trying to put off, but I can see that it's just to keep people away from you. It's a mask. Did you tell me the truth?
No, probably not. I'd rather hear your theories.
I have considered radioactive spiders and kryptonite.
It's all superhero stuff, right? What if I'm not the hero? What if I'm the bad guy?
You're not.
These guys are Team Edward fans. What is up with that?
He is way too casual about all of this, right?
He is. Man. I think it's pretty daunting for anybody to be thrust into that sort of limelight.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Edward is an iconic character at this point, you know? He's the sexiest thing in the world, Edward.
It's so funny because last year, you know, I'm struggling to even get someone to talk to me. And then, like, the whole world just turns and everybody finds you attractive. It's like, all right.
I don't know how he does it, really. It's you know, and he does it with like this quirky charm that's just kind of rock starish. I don't know how he does it.
The whole thing just seems completely ridiculous sometimes.
And action.
My favorite is the fight scene. It's amazing.
I get to do so many stunts. So I got to do wire work. I got to ride the magic carpet, which is this crazy thing that makes you look like you're walking at 30 miles an hour, which is just everything you ever knew about gravity goes out the window with this thing.
Personally, I love playing the bad guys. I mean, if I had a choice, I'd always go with the bad guys. I feel like they have, I don't know, they're just more to grasp onto.
Tell him to avenge you. Tell him. Tell him. All right.
When I was writing the novel, I saw the whole thing in my head like a movie. I really wanted to see it brought to life. This looks just right.
People dream about this book.
It's our first day of shooting. We picked the most difficult set ever. Not one shot is easy. Love it. Welcome to Twilight.
You know, it started with the books. I mean, Stephanie is kind of a genius, and so it, and even I read it before it was made into a movie, and it just kind of has that relatability. But then, you know, adding on top of that, that danger and vampires and sexiness and all that good stuff.
Stephanie wrote such a cool book, and I wanted to just make that real, make it visual, make it exciting, lift it off the page from words into just a thrilling experience that you felt like you were there.
I got the idea for Twilight from a dream, and it sounds kind of cheesy, but it was a great dream. I woke up from it and just sat there thinking about these characters.
Stephanie's created a completely different mythology.
It tells the vampire story in a different way.
And it's very honest. It's really, really honest. And that's kind of what's weird about it.
I was afraid of forgetting the dream because it was so good. I sat down to write it out, and so that first day I wrote 10 pages and pretty much all of chapter 13. And then after that, I just wanted to know what was going to happen.
It's an interesting story. I mean, the books, I read it, and I told everyone I was kind of a fan before I even got the part.
I never sat down to write a novel. It was just a chance to kind of play with the characters in my head. And when I finished it, no one was more shocked than me that I'd actually finished a book.
It's not enough for any of us that this is just a fun, good time vampire romp love story. That's not enough. We want it to be real.
I feel like the only love story that could have that quality is if it's actually put in like a fantasy world. And I feel like this does it well. It pulls it off, and you believe it.
Beautiful. Very visually dynamic. It's too bad he didn't have the strength to turn you. Instead, he kept you this fragile little human.
I get emails from people who feel like my book has actually changed their life, which for me, I mean, it changed my life. And I loved having the chance to really live in the characters, but I was surprised other people had that same experience.
Visually, it's going to be a gorgeous film, and so it's something that they can, you know, put their minds to and actually see something, and hopefully it's something like they imagine.
As the writer, you hope that people go see the film and want to know more, and go out and see how the book matches up with it, and that they feel the same feelings that people feel reading the book. I would love it if new audiences just walk out of there caring about Bella and Edward.
It's a great vampire tale, love story. Who doesn't want that?
It's a pretty human, like, straightforward love story, and anybody who's human can relate to that.
Here we go.